It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's IndyCar night on ERN. Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gatto, and welcome to the Elite Racing Network's coverage of Round 11 of the 2024 Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series season as we come to you today from Texas Motor Speedway for the Texas 600K. Joining me in the booth is the man with the hardest job of the night. He is our producer, and helping me with commentary is Nick Massey. So, Nick, we are fresh off a very exciting Indy 500 3 weeks ago, with one of, if not the closest finish in ERL IndyCar history, with a scant 0.004 seconds determining who the winner of that event was. But just like the real 500, there's always the post-500 hangover that we suffer going into the next round. You know, all the pomp and circumstances done, and we're back to the grind of the real schedule, quote unquote. However, for our leaders of the championship today, they cannot afford a hangover because tonight it's back to business with only 2 races left to go, and it's come down to 2 drivers who have dominated much of the season, much of the schedule all season long. Our current leader, Jason Brophy, and his chief rival to the finish, 4 wide, Adriano Pinero. Any thoughts on going into tonight's race? We have a packed field, and we're getting gridded up already.
Yeah, big points night for those guys. We got this race and one more left next week. So it's coming down to the wire for this championship, and next week is double points. So these last 2 races, those top guys especially have to be picture perfect and close the season out strong if they want to come home with the trophy.
Well, let's get the starting lineup in as we are now underway. Adriano Pinero is getting off to a good start here tonight for his attack on Brophy for the points lead. 217.668 was his 2-lap average. He is first. Chad Frankenfeld is second. Brophy third, right behind his chief rival. Fourth is Troiano. Fifth is Butch Davis, who had a bit of a disappointing Indy 500, but looks to recover. Gavin Hibbs, good run for him in 6th. He is one of our winners from earlier this season. Eric Picato, 7th. Ethan Stanley, 8th. Matthew Weeks, and I believe this is his first start in the series, and I know him from the VOR IndyCar side of things. 9th. Chris Samard, 10th. Moving on, Casey Hatch, 11th. Del Porto, 12th. Vandermar, hopefully I'm saying that right, 13th. Jared Rexing, 14th. Fortner, 15th. Schultz, 16th. Nick Studik coming from deep in the field in 17th. Forsyth right with him in 18th. Hunter Smith, 19th. David Tooker in 20th. And rounding out the field, Mark Levelis, 21st. 22nd, Tyler Fody coming from deep in the field. Nick DeGroot for the first start in a while, 23rd. Tate Lytle, 24th. Chris Wright, well, I think he's in there as admin, but we got Kevin Hayes and Trey Holmes also lining up for this field. We got 28 cars. Bill Colley, the second, I believe, is the last one, and we're getting ready to go racing. And we get the 1 green flag lap here, and we are underway here in Texas. And we're yellow already. And that is Justin Fortner.
Take a look at what happened here. Is Fortner, just gets the grass right off the drop, and somebody's wrecking in front of him too. Oh,
and we sent someone for a barrel wall. Nick Sudik went to the inside, might have hit the wall there. Wow, there's a lot of unpacking here that we need to do.
find that and take a look here. Just who was involved. We got about 500 feet into this one for incident night. Couldn't tell who that was that hit flipping. Casey Hatch?
There was another car further up that clipped the grass, and I'm trying to see who that was.
Oh, it looks like it was David Tooker that was the one that went flipping here.
Okay, so yeah, it was Casey Hatch that at the start he caught the inside grass and basically did the same thing that Fortner did. So he goes to the inside, and then it looks like he loses his nose. Nick DeGroot, or excuse me, not DeGroot, Nick Sudik, I think, tries to avoid this, and he cuts to the inside and smacks the inside wall really, really hard. And that might be night done for Nick there. Hopefully didn't get that fixed. It looks like it might have snapped back into place. But that's not a way you want to start off the Texas race. Man, it kind of reminds me of the start from what was that, 2 seasons ago at Texas when they had the doubleheader, and they all bound up coming to the start in the real IndyCar race. Well, a little bit more of the same here, and a lot of it's the grass clipping. So I would consider the grass clipping a little bit more of a rookie mistake with a lot of these drivers. They should know better than that.
Yeah, that took out, like you mentioned, 3 or 4 cars probably off the drop, or barely made it a couple hundred feet into this one. So, long night ahead of us, perhaps.
Well, if we're gonna keep that up, yeah. Let's see who is sitting in the pits. We got Trey Holmes in the pits. We got Tooker in the pits. Tooker was the one that did the barrel roll. Nick Sudik is in the pits. Looks like he is getting work done, and he might be able to get out and get some racing done later. Fortner is done. Casey Hatch is sitting on pit road, getting extended repairs done. So that is what we got going on pit road. We got the 26 cars started this thing now under timing and scoring, and 21 now are currently under power. So just like that, we lost 5 cars here on probably the narrowest part of the racetrack, right here at the quad oval double dog legs on the front stretch here at Texas. And we are under caution, lap 4 of 2:48. And you talked about it. It's going to be a long, long night. Texas, during the early IRL years, traditionally followed the Indy 500, much like Milwaukee did for decades, leading up to the 96 split. And however, in 2024, for the first time since 97, the Texas did not show up on the NTT IndyCar schedule. So when will it return? Well, we don't know. Hopefully it will, but if they do any reconfiguring of the track to make it more like Atlanta, you can pretty much sure and bet that we will not see IndyCar racing here at Texas anytime soon. The kart, actually, the track record is held by a kart driver, and that, well, it's held by kart, but it's also held by a kart and IRL driver. 1999 Indy 500 winner Kenny Breck holds the track record here for the 233.447 miles per hour, and a speed that we will never, ever see duplicated here, even in these cars. That was unbelievable. Billy Boat has the IRL track record here set back in 99 with a 225.979. The reconfigured track record is held by Charlie Kimball. Don't hear that name too often. 222.556. And the career wins leaders here, to nobody's surprise, Scott Dixon has 5, Castroneves has 4, Cornish with 3, Newgarden, Power, Sharp, and Scott Goodyear, there's a name we haven't talked about very often, also with 2. That's everything you need to know about Texas as we're going back to green here very shortly. Reminder, the green flags here in the ERL are handled a little bit differently that you see in other leagues. We will actually go 1 extra lap, so the leader can control the restart all by himself, and we don't have to worry about staying close to the pace car, any of that other kind of NASCAR rule nonsense that we have applied to Indy cars. But yeah, normally in IndyCar racing, that they would set the green flag and they would be off in turn 3 under power by then. They're not going to be quite that blatant with the coming to green this time, but they'll be more on the power in the middle of 4. So we'll see how Pinero decides to bring the field down. We're lap 5 now of 2:48. So we got another lap here to go before we are back racing, but the lights are on the pace car, which means the pace car will be leaving, coming to this time around. And while we are here under caution, got a little bit of time before we go back to green. The rule set for tonight, this is a 1.5 mile quad oval. We'll be doing 248 laps, 372 miles, 600K, 8 sets of tires to each one of the drivers. So that's 1 on the car, 7 in the pits. No fast repairs because, well, these guys are that damn good. And pit road speed is 45 miles per hour. And other than that, IndyCar wave around rules do apply. Restarts are controlled by the leader. And lucky dogs, of course, we're not going to have that here. None of that. And we're getting ready to go green next time by. And I know it's early, folks, but if you're enjoying ERN's coverage of the Elite Racing League's Warriors for Peace Indycar Series and you respect the stream, please do us all a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash the bell, or smash the like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future ERN broadcasts. One more race to go after this at the one of our platinum sponsors, our premier sponsors, Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway. That's where we will wrap the season up here next week with double points. So anything can still happen, certainly with the top two, maybe even with the top three, depending on how this pans out. Your points leaders are currently in first and third, coming to the green this time by Pinero up against the wall with the rest of the field. And here we go, coming to green for lap 7. We are green. This time looks like we're a little bit under control this time. Everyone trying to get heat into the tires. Track temp is 80 degrees, air temp 78, so we shouldn't have much of a tire day situation. Everyone's safely through 1, coming through 2. Here's Frankenfield on the outside of Pinero, 2 wide into the quad oval at the start-finish line. I believe we're going to give that lap to Chad. Brophy goes purple. Samard goes purple that time by. As we're getting up to speed, Hunter Smith goes purple that time by, 206.699. And the top 3 are starting to break away. A little mini pack going on at the front. Brophy back to purple. Del Porto now back to purple, 219.3 as we're still coming up to speed. Top 5, Pinero, Frankenfield, Brophy, Troiano, and Butch Davis now moving up to third. Your big mover of the race is Samargo, up 3 spots, up to 7th. Tyler Fody up 5 spots, up to 17th. Kevin Hayes up 6 spots, up to 19th. Butch Davis that time by, purple lap. Justin Vandermaal beats him at 219.7. Now we're doing a bit of a snake down the backstretch. A bit too early for that, Adriano. What are we doing that for? Here's a battle renewed from New Hampshire. Is Hibbs and Brophy. Hibbs getting around, move Hibbs up to 5th, Brophy back to 6th. Gotta be honest, some of these drivers, Brophy one of them, Pinero might be another, Butch Davis one of them as well. Probably been putting a lot of laps in at Indianapolis this week as we're in preparation for the official iRacing Indy 500s, the fixed and open this weekend. So this might not be first and foremost on Brophy's mind as he is the points leader, but this is probably might not be the most important thing that really he had planned for the week. Ethan Stanley blinking there on the inside. Now we got a bit of a 10-car breakaway. Samar looking for another position on the outside of Stanley into the quad oval. Not much for him to go there with Brophy in the way. Contact with that battle. Right behind him, Del Porto, way up high. Butch Davis going to the inside, attacking in 3 to the inside on Frankenfield, and put the veteran to the lead. Butch Davis is your new leader. Gavin Hibbs now has moved up to 3rd very quickly. He's up 3 spots. Butch Davis up 4. Pinero down 4 spots now. Maybe he's trying to settle back into a bit of a rhythm here early on, or he's just really noticing where his chief rival is. And maybe he doesn't have to push as hard. If he just simply has to stay in front of his chief rival, he can give up a couple of positions. Of course, Texas Motor Speedway is reprofiled after about 2018 or so. They decided to widen and flatten a little bit turns 1 and 2. Turns 3 and 4 still retain their 24-degree of banking that they originally have. So it kind of gives the track a bit of a different way to attack it. And what do you see a lot of these drivers here, specifically kind of looking at Troiano. Samard was up there as well. Butch Davis was up there right now. Right now, Butch Davis is up there. He's on the high side. As up on the high side in turns 1 and 2. You'll see a lot of cars getting up into the gray, kind of almost where you almost see NASCAR guys up there a lot. And what this is allowing these Indy cars to do is they get a big run down this backstretch. And then all they really need to do is get on the bottom and below their chief rival in front of them, and then they'll have the best line going into 3, just like Chad Frankenfeld is right now as he gets around Butch Davis back to the lead.
Yeah, that was one thing I was noticing here early in this race is just how different this track acts, in these Indy cars compared to the NASCAR side. And the NASCAR side, you can't really go up there and run in the gray, but here, like you mentioned, you're able to get that huge run down the backstretch. It works really well in these cars.
Yeah, these guys are all about momentum.
Rexing.
Rexing a 3 wide coming off of 4. This is where the track narrows down, boys. Look out. Here we go. Rexing through the double dog legs, keeps it off the wall, and he sends that car up to P2 and into the lead now.
We were talking about it. You see him use that high side in turn 1 and 2 and get that crazy run down the backstretch and just go by both Chad Frankenfeld and Butch Davis there for the lead. Almost.
Right now, where he's not in a position right now is on the bottom, and that's the best line through 3 and 4. That's where Chad's able to get the run going back into the quad oval area, the start-finish line, getting back to the lead. But here, watch this run again. He's going to get up the top. You get a good run. Chad's going to take the IRL defense, and when I say IRL defense, that's the Indy Racing League defense. It used to be whoever controlled the bottom in the old IRL days controlled the race, and he is controlling the bottom at the moment. However, that is really going to add to his tire degradation much faster than these guys that are in the middle or higher lanes. Here's a good run for the outside here of Rexing again. Oh, and Butch Davis says, you know what, there's a hole in the middle. I'll just send it 3 wide.
Yeah, and I know we're focused mainly on the battle for the lead right now, but there's passes and 3 wide action like this going on all over the place.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Tyler Fode back in 9th, up 13 spots. He just entered the top 10. Shout out to Hunter Smith in 7th. He's now up to 6th. Now up to now he was up to 5th, back down to 6th. He's up 13 spots. Rexing up 11. So a lot of these guys not wasting any time whatsoever to get up at the front, turning this into a kind of a not exactly a pack race, but definitely a very close wheel-to-wheel race.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, as we get farther and farther into this run here, at what point are the tires going to start to degrade enough where you're going to see these guys maybe pushing too hard, fall off, and struggle? Some of the other guys may be taking it easy, like looking at Adriano Panero, as you mentioned, minus back to 9th right now. He's just taking it easy, biding his time, knowing we got another 220 or so laps to go.
Yeah, we should be. Well, we're not quite halfway through a run. We're almost there. Actually, we are there. It should be about 45 laps to a run here.
Mentioned Hunter Smith now up to 3rd here.
Yeah, Hunter Smith has moved us up. The Little Eagle team there, moving himself up to 3rd. Right underneath him is Stanley. Stanley had himself a good 500.
Smith looking for room up there.
I'm going to run out of room really quick on that front stretch. It's like there's a big funnel coming off of turn 4, and it just really narrows down there when you exit 4 and you get onto what is called the front stretch, obviously the double dog leg.
Tyler Fode riding the high side, as you mentioned, plus 16. 9 laps in. And he's working his way towards the front as well.
And we're looking at about I'm willing to say if we go 45 laps to a stint, which is about what they do in the fixed series when we come here to broadcast that, when I normally work my other job with the race first. It's about 45 laps, 45 laps. So we're looking at about, even if I go 45 laps, we're looking at about 5.5 stops to get home. So some of these guys in the back, and maybe that's exactly what Brophy's doing. Brophy is back in 19th. And he might be trying to hit a number right now to kind of eliminate that last half of a stop, or at least make that last half of a stop shorter than everyone else's. Remember, every second that you save on pit road is a football field on the racetrack. Able to break away at the front. Frankenfeld is your leader. Davis on the outside, P2. Smith up third. Rexing now fourth. Bodie has the purple lap. He is currently in fifth. Stanley sixth. Lytle seventh. Schuld eighth. Hibbs ninth. Now move Weeks up to 10th. Last time by for our leader Frankenfeld at the line, 2:13.7. Another 2:13.7. Gotta imagine he's got a pretty well matched before. Might be breathing it a little bit in 1 and 2. But if anything, it's just a crack.
Bodie making the pass right there. Hunter Smith on the high side. Up to P3, looking gonna have a pretty decent run here on their leaders. Where to go with it.
Yeah, everyone wants to go to the outside. They're trying to make this outside line work. Look at that, 4 different lines going through turns 1 and 2 with these guys. It very much reminds me of a Michigan or Fontana, where you can go multiple different lines, but the racetrack is so wide. That's kind of how they had that in mind for at least the Indy cars up there. And all they really need is that clean air on those front wing planes, and that really helps them immensely. When they start getting the dirty air, or certainly when they start getting dirty air with worn tires, which we are in that stage, they will push right up to that turn 2 wall and smack it. And they don't want to do that, because that is pretty much day done in these cars. But, yeah, everyone is lining up on the high side. No one's really lining up directly behind Chad to try to follow him through, mainly because there's nowhere to go and you're going to get trapped down there. Four wide coming off the corner.
I'm kind of amazed we haven't had a coming together, so to speak, off one of these corners. The way these guys are fanning out and coming all back together.
Well, if we do now, we circle lap 36, and Nick Massey's the one that said it. Down to the bottom. Butch is going to pin him down there.
Hunter Smith forcing it 3 wide. Dive down the bottom.
Yeah, there was a little bit of light there that Chad showed him, and he went ahead and took it. Now, these are teammates. And so there's, I don't know what the general rule in NASCAR is when racing with your teammates, but typically when it comes to open wheel IndyCar racing, there's 2 very simple rules to racing your teammate. Rule 1 is don't wreck your teammate. Rule 2 is go back and see Rule 1. That's how important it is. But right now, those little Eagle guys might line up 1, 2, and 3 in the bottom if they can all get in line. These cars are starting to really push up to that turn 2 wall on exit as these tires are really starting to go off now. Tanks are light, cars are not handling well, working the tools in there, try to keep these cars rotating. 39 of 248, now 40 of 248. So we are right really where the window for about a 5 stopper is going to open up here in about 5 laps or so. And we're going to see who's on what type of strategy. How far do they plan the run? I would imagine in the past here, especially with fresh tires, the undercut as we got Hunter Smith up into the wall. He is missing a front wing. People need to watch out for that. He is not going to be able to turn very well in the corners, even with the banking. He's going to want to try to get the pit road. He's going to push real bad. Hopefully he knows that he's missing the front wing. He might not be able to see it. A lot of times when you're so low in these cockpits, you really can't see if you're missing a front wing. He might hear it on his radio that there's where the front wing is really needs it. He's starting to push up very high in turns 1 and 2. Less drag down the backstretch. That's going to help him a little bit. But right when you get to the corners, let's see how he attacks this. And might just make be the first, if he's close on his pit window, might be one of the first drivers down pit road. But there we see Hunter Smith up in the lead and up near the leaders and is missing his left front plane on his front wing assembly. Also back there, Nick DeGroot. Nick DeGroot's always working a strategy. I bet he's trying to hit a fuel number. I'm sure of it. Caution on the backstretch.
Oh.
Troiano.
Oh, looks like a little bit of contact. Not sure who that was that he made contact with.
One of the little legal cars. So I need to slow down my replays a little bit. So yeah, Troiano down the backstretch. Gets a good run going into 3. And I believe that is Scholl that he's right behind there. The 4.
Yeah, looks like he just gets a good run off the top. And
I don't know if Scholl maybe had to roll out of it because of tires and the aero wash. I mean, we are at that stage, and I suspect everyone's going to come down pit road once they get collected by the pace car. But Scholl goes up high. Troiano's higher. And now we're going to see Scholl cars start to push up on corner exit. Troiano gets a good run. Scholl's now, I'm out of it. I got to roll out of it. And Troiano just kind of, not quite. Oh, and Hayes got into that too, I think. Yeah. But not quite ARCA braked him, but got really close into just kind of running him over almost because of the speed differential. But Troiano, that's day done for him after having a pretty exceptional Indy 500. Pit stops are occurring. Oh, some guys are staying out, I think. Yeah. Brophy, Del Porto, Nick DeGroot, they're going to stay out. But Fody is going to be the first of the group off of pit road on this. So now we got 2 strategies going on here, Nick. We got a group of guys at lap 46 that have been apparently saving fuel. And now under caution, they're going to try to save some more fuel. They might be able to squeeze another 10 more laps. They're banking on another caution here. But the winner off this for the second strategy, who's everyone that pitted here at lap 46, is led by Tyler Fody, who is out now in 4th spot. Right behind him is Butch Davis, then Gavin Hibbs. Tate Lytle 7th. Frankenfeld fell all the way back down to 8th. Lytle, I'm not sure what exactly he did, but he moved himself up 17 spots now, the 7th spot. He is working very efficiently on pit road. 33.1 on the road and 9.8 in the box, but not overall too bad. And there we go. We see Brophy, Del Porto, and DeGroot going to pit road. Wonder if maybe they just wanted another lap under caution to try to hit a number. That's possible. Also coming to pit road in the background there is... we got Craig Forsyth, I believe. Yeah, he's coming to pit road in that 40 racewear car. Now, I know Craig well enough that he's topping off. He just barely stopped and topped. If I knew Craig well enough that if you're going to give a track position like that, he's in it for the fuel. That's how he's normally working. And he's doing a stream right now. I want to shout out to everybody on his stream. I know everybody can't hear me, but he streams all his races. So let's reset the field here momentarily as we wait for everyone to get back in line. Hey, if you're just joining us, this is the Elite Racing Network's coverage of the Warriors for Peace Indycar Series coming to you from Texas. We've completed 47 of 248 laps. This is a second caution of the day. Had one very early on, kind of an oopsie at the start there at the green flag. A couple guys caught the grass. But since then, we were clean until the incident coming off of 2 started with Troiano and Schold. But if you are enjoying everything, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The finale for the series is next week at Gateway. You won't want to miss double points. And we still have a huge battle for the lead. Only 11 points separating your leader right now, which is 4 wide Adriano Pinero. On the points situation, yeah, there we go. Actually, no, it's Jason Brophy who is your points leader by 11 points, 393 points over 4 wide Adriano Pinero. Pinero at 382, 11 points back. A little bit distant, but in a pretty solid third place right now is Ethan Stanley. He has 296 points. He's 97 behind the leader. If he does well in that final race and the other 2 do not do well, he could possibly potentially capitalize and make this points race closer. But he has to do a lot here tonight, and hopefully the top 2 do not have a very good race. Nick Sudik, who started off the night not very good, and I believe he has retired. He's currently 5th in the standings, and, he was going to probably lose it to Troiano, but Troiano, who has himself a rough night, might end up losing 2 spots now to Butch Davis, who is currently been up at the front all day today, currently P2 at the moment, right behind Fody. And we are getting ready to go green in a lap. But before we do, we want to thank one of our premier partners, Blue Egg Marketing. We want to rev up your business with Blue Egg. Blue Egg is going to be your marketing crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the complex track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Every racing pun you can slip in there, they did it. And check out Blue Egg. Their link is in the description. And they are a proud premier partner of the ERL. Go back to go racing, resetting the lead here. Fody, Davis, Hibbs, Lytle, Frankenfeld, your top 5. Stanley, Pinero, Weeks, Rexling, and Samard coming to green for lap 50. This time by. Here we go. We're going to get Frankenfeld going to the inside of Tate. He's going to try to get that position back really quick. He gets that. Pinero right behind Matthew Weeks. And that Visa Formula One, I'll give him credit for that livery. At least it's not, I'm so sick of seeing it. At least it's not the Kyle Larson livery from Indianapolis. I'm so sick of seeing it. It's like when you race some of those open Indianapolis races that they had last week and fixed or this week and fixed. Is that there's certain cars when they have a livery on, you're just like, no man, you're probably not a regular everyday IndyCar driver. And yeah, normally the Kyle Larson livery was indicative of that. But I will give Weeks credit though. The Red Bull livery there for his car isn't too bad. But dude, there's so many other IndyCar liveries we can get you. Can we get you like the Yellow Submarine or something? Come on, man. We can hook you up. Right behind him is Justin Vandermaal in that Pepsi car. Been a while since we've actually seen a real Pepsi-sponsored IndyCar. Since the Mike Mosley days back there. Right behind him is Hunter Smith with the new wings. He is back on the march.
Yeah, that caution came out at a great time for him. Able to come down pit road. Not
very fortuitous for him. Very.
Yeah, if that were me, I would be kind of, sounding all the alarms there and come down pit road right away, not to lose too many spots. But lucky for him, he stayed out long enough to catch that caution.
Yeah, I got to think he was probably pretty close to his window, and everyone was for that battle. And we got a battle full lead up front with Frankenfeld. But, 3 wide, boys. Take it easy. We still got a lot of racing to do tonight. Frankenfeld float a little high. You're not giving Butch a lot of room up there, but they're making it through, and they'll make it to 1 where it widens out a little bit, and then they can then just a chance to breathe. Cody did not come off that white line at all in the backstretch. And that protects your line going into 3 and 4, but really it makes your entry into 3 and 4 very, very shallow and very abrupt. 4 or 5 different cars there. And we got side by side with Stanley and Hibbs. We had 5 cars, 5 different lines through turns 1 and 2. Still 3 wide. It's like the start of the 500 they're lined up there coming off of 4.
And it seems like that outside's able to kind of maintain in 3 and 4, but it doesn't give you the large run off that one.
No, you're right. Yeah, the preferred line through 3 and 4 is going to be on the bottom. And Fody is linking a little bit, so that can be distracting. Here comes Rexing into the battle. We got a now 6-car battle going into 1.
And this
Tate
is really
Lytle's not too. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I was gonna say, this is really the first time Fody's had clean air all night. Plus 21, started back in the 22nd position, so he's trying to keep that clean air as long as he can, holding that white line.
Well, the thing is, and he's doing a pretty good job with it right now, is when you're so used to driving in traffic, your tool sets and your car behaves differently because you have your tools set at a different setting in the car, so you can get through all that traffic. When you break to the free air, then all of a sudden your car becomes very, very free because you have all that clean air in front of you. You got to change your settings, and your car feels a little bit different. So even though you make your run to the front, you might not be comfortable at the front. Now we're starting to pack up a little bit. Connor Smith now up to 9th with the new wing. He's right behind Tate Lytle. Tate Lytle 8th. Panera up on the high side from 3 and 4. He's in 7th. Rexing down low. He's following through Stanley. Hibbs up high. Bodie still running the low side. Chad's really pinning him down there. Oh, he wanted to come up higher. Chad wasn't going to really let him. Butch is going to go 3 wide. Now, if this was Charlotte, you could not do that at Charlotte in these cars. Charlotte's like threading a needle. Here we go. We see 6 cars going through turns 1 and 2. 6 different lines. Gonna go 3 wide again on the entrance of 3. Bodie to the bottom. Butch backs off a little bit, probably to give himself a little bit of room to breathe. Right behind him, his Hibbs. Hibbs won that race, beating Brophy back in New England earlier in the season. My first broadcast with the ERL. Frankenfeld he's really pinning Fody to the bottom there. He is not giving him much room, although he's giving him a lot of leeway going down the backstretch. And I can see why now, because I think Chad, and who has out by a nose there, is getting a better arc into the corner and maintaining his speed a little bit better. And we got Nick Sudik checking in the chat. So devastated. Yeah, I hear you, man. That's not really how you want to start your race. Green flag, 100 feet into the wall. Good news is you have more time to go practice your Indy 500 qual setup if you need to. Of course, those races are this weekend. Do a little cross promotion here. My channel, Race First. We're actually going to be covering 2 of the official Indy 500s, 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday evening. This Friday, we will cover the first top split of the Open Indy 500, and then on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, we will cover the fixed series, or not the fixed series, but the fixed Indy 500. So we have 400 laps 1,000 miles of racing action as Frankenfield pinches Fody down to the bottom all weekend long here on Racehorse. Not to mention, we also have the coverage of, oh, here comes Hibbs with a huge run up the middle. We will be doing a special presentation of the IndyCar iRacing Series race at Detroit on Friday at 4 p.m. Because really, if we tried to do it during our normal slot, it would have been in the middle of those 500. So we got a special time. So Friday, big weekend really starts for us Friday at 4 p.m. And then 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday is the first race of the 500 that we'll be covering. And then the second 500 we'll cover at 5 p.m. on Saturday. And you can check us out at youtube.com/racefirst. Subscribe, and then you can hit the notifications. Right now, we are watching action here on ERN with the ERL and the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. Lap 68 at 2:48. Fody Frankenfeld Davis flying in formation down the front stretch.
Yeah, these guys have been side by side for the last, I don't know, 10 laps or so, and Butch Davis is trying to get a run on both of them. Been trying for a while, just not quite able to get the run that he needs off the top, especially out of 3 and 4 here. But Chad definitely pinching down Fody, like you mentioned, and that's kind of trying to open the door for Butch Davis.
And Butch right there, as you saw him going into one, maybe we can, maybe, you know who we should ride with here? Let's ride with Ethan Stanley, because he's probably the most interested party there. Let's little ride on the, yeah, there you go. He's got a big run. So to the outside is Butch. And you're going to see Butch dip down here a little bit as Ethan rolls out of the throttle. You see Butch dip down, get a little bit of draft, try to get the run down the backstretch. Going to stick it up high. He feels enough pull that if he doesn't pull out, now he's didn't quite make it in there as deep as he wanted this time. But he was getting enough pull down the stretch that if he didn't pull out and go high, I mean, he had nowhere else to go. So you can't really go low. And if you went low, he'd probably get pinned down there anyways. So they're trying to stay high and give himself some options. But here, watch him get this run down the backstretch again. And he's going to try it one more time on the outside, see if he can get the momentum. Rexing passing Stanley here as Hibbs is on the outside. We don't see him. But the Stanley spotter's letting him know he's there.
Rexing had a huge run, just nowhere to go with it right there.
Yeah, and they clipped the grass.
There you see Hibbs clearing on the outside. Rexing now.
See Stanley staying in 6th gear the whole time. So he might be trying to save a little bit of fuel back there in the draft. Got a lot of shifting. Now he goes down the 5th. But you kind of got to do here in this turn to keep the revs up. Ooh, looked a little, felt, at least the way that rotated, it felt a little loose to me, but there's Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, that Red Bull Visa scheme definitely sticks out.
It does stick out. I like it. I like it as bright. It does. I think it's very catchy. But we can get you another one that's a little bit more catchier than that. Yeah, or Matthew. But I know Matthew. I mean, if there's a legit rookie here up here in the. Oh yes, there it is. Oh, there it is. Oh, wait, contact! Careful! Butch Davis in the wall.
I think he got a shot there from Gavin Hibbs in the tri-oval, maybe. Green is still out. Yellow has not waved yet.
Let's see what happened.
Take a look back. I saw him get a shot in the rear from somebody. I think it was Gavin Hibbs. I could be wrong, but. Oh, it wasn't. It was
Rexing.
Yeah, Rexing.
You get a good run, and Rexing was going to go to the outside. Rexing actually lost his front wing. Now, unless it grows back, and that probably meant that we don't have cut tires here in IndyCar, but he might have broke the suspension. I don't know if Rexing's wing grew back. I think it did. But I think Rexing was going to go out high, and Butch was wanting to go out high as well. And Butch, the last couple laps, has been kind of doing that line. And he didn't really expect Rexine to kind of go for that hole. And Rexine had a good run, had nowhere to go, and kind of clipped him. So, unfortunately, that puts Butch Davis on pit road. That might be terminal, but back up to the front is Tyler Fode. So now we have a bit of a new group of drivers up at the front. And I was getting ready to say, if there's a real rookie here that's up at the front, it's Matthew Weeks. Up until a couple of weeks ago, he was normally driving stock cars until he kind of got hired by another team owner that raced some Indy cars over in another series as Justin Vandermarl, hope I'm saying that right, and Hunter Ethan Stanley almost coming together in turn one. A lot of aero push there. But Matthew got hired by him and won his first IndyCar race in the Bohr IndyCar IRO5 series, which is now called the Champ Car Series. And so it showed that he could definitely handle the open wheeler. Thing is, those IRO5 cars, which is the oldest legacy IndyCar server on the IndyCar chassis on the service, it does not have the tools like these cars do. So basically, he was controlling that car with his with basically all his driving skill without the aids of anything helping him rotate the car. Now he's got some aids. So let's see how well this helps him navigate this field. He's going to have a big run off the corner 4 down the backstretch. And before he knows it, he's going to be right up with these leaders if he can get himself around Gavin Hibbs. And we are about 37 laps into this current stint. No cautions, green the entire way. So there's my jinx of this run. Expect the caution any moment. But I expect that we will see pit stops here sometime in the next 7 to 8 laps, give or take.
Oh, looks like a little blink from Fode, but yeah, I think this is about the point in the last run where all the handling issues come into play and ultimately end up in a wreck. So I think these guys are able to make it to the pit stop this time. Hopefully they do. Throw a little strategy wrench in things here. Weeks making the move underneath for third here. Good run through 3 and 4. There's both Tate and Gavin Hibbs.
If Weeks can get the car to the finish and he knows how to operate the tools, he will be a factor. Absolutely will be a factor. The way that I've seen him take to these open wheelers. And it's not hard. We saw it this weekend at Indianapolis. It's not easy to jump from your normal discipline, which is stock cars, to an Indy car. It's not easy. And you saw it this weekend. I mean, you had a Cup Series champion, have a hard time with it at Indianapolis. And it's not easy the other way. We've seen some multi-time Indy 500 winners try to go to stock cars and have a hard time. About the only one that's really been successful at either one was Tony Stewart.
Yeah, agreed. The few guys that have done it, I think Tony's definitely the most successful. But I think Kurt Busch proved it could be done too. I think he had a good run in the Indy 500 and that when he did the double his one time. But yeah, I think it's just a completely different skill set. And some of the guys have that overlap, but most of them don't, and it's just tasked to adapt from one part to the other.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Weeks is one of those guys. He's one of the guys here in the elite racing league where he can come from series to series and be pretty consistently fast. And, pretty much every type of car we run over here. So not super surprised to see him up front here on an oval in an Indy car, but definitely impressive. We're not here for a one-off and running with these guys who do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, he was, when we were doing the Indy 500 broadcast, he was in chat. He says, I should have qualified for this. I should have come out and done this. So he realized that while he was watching those guys at Indy that he probably had it within himself to probably put on a good effort there. So maybe we see Matthew Weeks next year, or actually during the 2024 B season when we go back to Indianapolis, maybe we see him as part of the field of 33. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Fode, Frankenfield, Hibbs, Lytle, Weeks, and Justin Vandermarl.
That Pepsi machine working his way into the picture here. Yeah,
Back in the late 70s, early 80s, Mike Mosley, who drove for Dan Gurney Racing, All-American Racers. He drove one of those Dan Gurney Eagle chassis back in the day. He had Pepsi sponsorship, and back when they had, now I'm showing my age. That's when the Pepsi had a advertising program going on called the campaign going called the Pepsi Challenge. And so what you would do is you would see him set up in the mall and whatever. Here comes Panero looking down low here on Justin getting on by. But you would see him in the mall, and you would take a drink. It would be a blind taste test. You take a drink of one drink, which was Coke, and a drink of another one was Pepsi, and then you would guess which one was which. And you find your better chance of yourself getting on the commercial if you actually picked Pepsi. I always picked Coke. But anyways, the name of their IndyCar was the Pepsi Challenger. So that was pretty cool back in the day. But that's about the last time I really remember Pepsi sponsoring an IndyCar. Coke has done it. Coke actually did a couple of one-off races with Ganassi Racing back during the DW12 era, and the car looked really, really slick. But there hasn't been really a standalone Coke sponsorship at IndyCar for quite a while as well. But there you go, a little history on the history of Pepsi sponsorship at IndyCar racing. Back up at the front, though, the situation still really hasn't changed, although Tate Lytle is working on that high line, kind of filling in the void that Butch Davis was in a little while ago.
Yeah, we've seen that, that third and fourth spot swap frequently here, but our two leaders pretty much maintain the same thing they've been doing the last, 20, 30 laps or so. Chad kind of running the high side, Cody, keeping it pinned down on that white line, not letting Chad get down there, and it hasn't changed at all the last 20, 30 laps. Everybody nicing it up behind them.
They are 50 laps into this run, so my estimation of about 40, 45 is a little off, but we are definitely in the neighborhood where they want to start thinking about this. Now, if we go green, I'm not quite sure what the series green flag pit road in procedures are. If they could dive directly off of 4, or do they have to come to the apron in 3 and 4 in order to pit? So we'll keep an eye on that. Every series is a little bit different. Series that I've been in, I've raced here before, said you had to come in off of 3 and 4, and you had to run the apron. Other series that I've been in says if you provided you get the pit road safely, you can come right off of 4. But you have to go from 220, near 220 miles an hour down to 45, and that is with these cars in this configuration really hard to do.
Yeah, that's a good point that I've never really thought about either with these cars.
Okay, there we go. On the bottom, we got loosely, we got Fody on the bottom coming to pit road. So there he goes. That answers my question. Here comes Frankenfeld, who carried more speed to the cone.
Oh. Did he get it slowed up? He came in there pretty hot.
Well, that's how you close those differentials, is you try to make these pit ends as aggressively as possible. But again, you go speeding on pit road, and we saw what happened to Larson in the 500. The cops will take us away. Frankenfeld getting full service on pit road while the field is under green. He is down and away. All they need to do is get to the pit out cones, which they are side by side, and they will come off the button. That apron is extremely slippery. They want to come up to speed as quickly as possible. Plus, they're racing each other at this point, and here comes the field behind them.
Yeah, that apron is slippery, and also if you didn't put your weight jacker back to the way it was before, because I'm sure these guys loosened it up. The worn tires, running in traffic.
That is an excellent point. One of the things you hear when you watch IndyCar racing at pit stops, and even this is for Weeks has a huge lead. I mean, he has a second lead at the moment right now, and it might as well be a mile lead because that's about the biggest lead we've seen all night long right now in this series, or all night long for this series. But you make an excellent point. One of the last things you hear if you listen to the radio with IndyCar racing is you'll hear the crew chief say when they hit pit road, one of the last things they say is reset your tools, hold, go, 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 go. And so what they'll doing is that in that period is they'll reset their tools back to where the car was when it was full of fuel with cold tires. Now, one of the things you can do is you can play with the weight tracker a little bit on pit out to kind of keep the car a little bit tighter. Here comes Matthew Weeks to pit road. And if you know what to do with the weight tracker, you could do that and help the car rotate a little bit better. And then provided that you can get it reset by the time you get to turn 3, which that's a lot of clicking really fast, you could do that. So leader to pit road, Pinero now has assumed the lead. He is now 58 laps into his current stint, with Victor Del Porto, his countryman, right next to him. Of course, Helio Castro Neves has 4 wins here. Their countrymen from Brazil in the Real World IndyCar Series. Right with them is Canadian Craig Forsyth and Jason Brophy. Coming to pit road right now, Jared Rexing. So I told you last time we saw had Forsyth on the camera that he was coming in for a splash. And if I said that the reason that he's given up that much track position was for more mileage, well, look who's up now to 3rd place, and he is now 57 laps into his stint. Pinero to pit road. Another name that I said earlier before that might be working it. Look who's in P4, Nick DeGroot.
Yeah, you mentioned him coming to top off that last caution. Came down top off, and everybody else is staying out. 2nd lap.
Got some more coming to pit road right in front of us. Looks like that's Del Porto coming to pit road. Yep. So now the lead is to our points leader, Jason Brophy, who missed winning at Indianapolis by, let's see, last race results here. Here comes both Brophy and Craig to pit road. Oh, that's not good. Imagine those two with a combined brain. This is a 2,000 IQ move at least. But Brophy finished 3rd at Indianapolis with the margin of victory for Caleb Bency down to Jason Brophy with 0.028 of a second. I don't even think I can blink my eyes at that.
Yeah, that was an incredible finish there. I caught the tail end of it. Amazing race, amazing broadcast by you guys as well. Job well done all around.
Mikado, leader to the pits here. So this will hand the lead over to Fody and Frankenfeld, who is now passing everybody on the front straight. And right there with him is Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, it looks like staying out that extra couple laps didn't hurt Weeks, some of these guys, all that much. I thought it would. But able to hang right with him.
Apparently the undercut is just not there right now. Ooh. Mikado actually had, I think, a lap lead on everybody, so they're going to pass him here on the front stretch. Unless my overlay is, or my timing and scoring is being slow. There we go. We'll reset it anyways.
These two leaders picking up right where we left off before green flag stops. Fody on the bottom, Chad on the top.
And we missed. Something happened to Tate Leibel. He is now retired. But he was among the leaders. I'm not sure what happened to him, if he was coming to or off pit road, but he is retired.
Yeah, we must have missed that. I didn't see anything pop up.
And Justin Vandermaal in the Pepsi car. Looks like a 40-second hold on pit road for speeding. He is down in 16th. So everybody ahead of Justin is on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is Nick DeGroot.
Smith way up top.
Yeah, look at it. They're just trying to find all sorts of clean air and big runs off the top.
Him and Ethan Stanley were so high up the track, you couldn't even see him on camera there for a second.
So that finish at Indianapolis was so close that was submitted to iRacing, and iRacing gave it some attention and love with a tweet and everything. So that finish got a lot of publicity here for the league, and for the guys here that run the ERL, part of the ERN. So hopefully that pays off well for them. That was a great finish. But we got a little bit more of the same coming right here. 113 of 248. We just completed the second stint for a lot of these drivers. A lot of them went to almost 60 laps for those that had the best savings. They actually went over 60 laps. Brophy went 62. Forsyth went 60. Del Porto went 61, and Pinero went 61. A lot of those same names we saw going long at Indianapolis as well. And when we had Green Flag Racing, that's what brought them to the front at Indianapolis, and it's doing the same here at Texas. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
you are watching. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I was going to say, if just over 60 laps, if this goes green, that's going to be really interesting coming out of the end, because that means these guys can't make it on one stop. They got to pit a second time at least for fuel. So that'll be really interesting strategy-wise to see what these guys do if this thing ends up going green.
Yeah, you'll splash and go at the end, on the splash and dash, as they say. But hey, thanks for everybody's joining us tonight. This is, of course, the ERN's coverage of round 11 of 12, or as one of my broadcasting peers likes to call it, the penultimate round of the championship of the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series, coming to you from Texas, where Tyler Fode is currently the leader, with Chad Frankenfeld and him battling for the lead for much of the night. This time they're kind of in different positions. Frankenfeld was on the low side for a lot of that time. Now he's running the high side, and Fode's down low. But they've been very cleanly fighting this one out. I'm sure they're having a fun time in the virtual cockpit. So we got 117, 248 in the books. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Next week is the finale at Gateway. And speaking of Gateway, otherwise known as Worldwide Technology Raceway, they are one of the premier partners of the ERL and the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois. Everybody knows that. Just east of St. Louis. It's close to the Gateway Arch. In fact, you can see it in the Gateway Arch from the grandstands there. Oh! Frankenfeld was just pushing up there badly on corner exit, and that costs a lot of momentum. He's going to go back to 4th or 5th. But, of course, Gateway features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts NASCAR, Craftsman Truck Series, the Cup Series, the NTT IndyCar Series. Has a 2-mile road course that's used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, Porsche Club of America, a 1/4-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals, and a Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility, all in the infield. Also, Worldwide Technology is the only facility in the United States that hosts the Cup Series, the NTT IndyCar Series, and NHRA top-level divisions. So that is Gateway and the Worldwide Technology Raceway, one of our premier partners. Thank you very much for supporting the league and the series. Fode continues the lead with Frankenfeld kind of as his wingman for the most part. But here comes Matthew Weeks. I thought he was going to take a peek to the inside, but he's going to go to the inside, not the outside this time. And by the time he gets to 1, he's backing off a little bit. But we got Ethan Stanley on the high side now. He might think about taking that 3 wide. Joining the battle. Been up there for quite most of the evening is Gavin Hibbs. He is in 5th, Rexing 6th, Hunter Smith 7th. Brophy now 8th, Pinero 9th. Forsyth has moved to 10th. A lot of your big changes tonight. Fode up 21 spots. Jared Rexing up 8 spots. Hunter Smith up 12 spots. And that includes losing one of his front wings for a while. And a very timely timed caution so he could get that repaired. Craig Forsyth up 8. Nick DeGroot up 10. And Kevin Hayes up 11. Those are your big gainers for tonight so far. A long way to go. A lot of stuff can still happen. we're looking at a bit of a 11-car breakaway right now. Fode, Frankenfeld, Stanley Weeks, Hibbs in that first 5 group. Then Rexing, Smith, Brophy, Pinero, Forsyth, and the last car tacked on the back there. Watch out for him. That is Del Porto. He is one of the cars that went 60 laps or more, 61 actually, on that last run. And if all he's doing back there is fuel saving while staying in the draft, which he is clearly in the draft envelope of Forsyth, if he could get some extra laps out of this run, he very well will turn into a player as we get to the closing stages of this race. We are right at the halfway point, though.
Yeah, looking back here at the battle for 8th and 9th with our 2 championship leaders, Jason Brophy and Adriano Pinero. I think other than the initial start, this is really the highest up we've seen Brophy in quite a while. Was riding back there in about 15th or so before pit stop.
Yeah, we are just 4 laps past the halfway point. And we've had a fair bit of attrition. Unfortunately, we had 5 cars right off the bat at the start get taken out due to an incident. Then we had another incident that featured Ryan Schuld and Eric Troiano. And unfortunately, that took out a couple cars as well. Casey Hatch, I believe, was involved in that. Didn't see what happened to Chris Simard, but he was up among the leaders in that bright orange car, and then all of a sudden, he's no longer there. Butch Davis, unfortunately, had a little bit of help from Rexing, we believe, going into 1, right before going into 1, as he kind of completed that second dogleg here on the front stretch in the quad oval. And he ended up going into the wall, ending his day. And we're not quite sure what happened to Tate Lytle. We think maybe something happened when he was coming to or coming off of pit road, and we just didn't catch it on the stream. But we are down to 16 cars out of the 26 that started, as we're right at the halfway point. So a lot of this attrition is just kind of helping Brophy and Pinero just kind of hover around the mid-pack. But the mid-pack now, instead of being 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, the mid-pack now is 7th, 8th, and 9th. Each different level, aggressive cut down there for Rexing down the backstretch going into 3. Just seeing an open spot and taking it. He might decide to go low. Oh, I thought Rexing that's actually what it was going to try to go under Fode at the first dogleg, which the door kind of opened up a little bit. I thought maybe he'd take it, but he's not gonna. And now he's getting a little bit of aero wash and falling back coming out of 2. Leaders are going to probably encounter some lap traffic here momentarily. I believe that's Justin Vennermar and in front of them by about 3 seconds or so. They are catching him as he's running by himself.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Rexing back up here. I thought with that after that contact with Butch Davis there, I thought he had some front end damage to that thing. Spencer come up pit road, getting the wing put back on, but right back up here, running 4th, and out for the lead is Rexing.
Yeah, I think a little bit of iRacing physics took over there and snapped him back on the wing, but I thought Frankenfeld was going to go below the white line to take a look going to the 3. Maybe trying to set up a move for later. Still a little early for that. We are just in the early stages of the second half of the race.
Yeah, I know we got a long way to go, but as much as these two have run side by side, I'm surprised there hasn't been any contact yet, because on the NASCAR side, they tend to bang doors pretty frequently.
You don't want to do that in Indy cars. Definitely don't want to do that in Indy cars. Look at the high side up here. Look at going back to Brophy, just running on that high side. He's going to be part of this initial battle for the lead here. He's going to get a big run down the backstretch. He's going to be right up to the back of Hibbs.
We're actually looking to go way up top here.
Rexing way up top again. We might get a good run down the backstretch on the high side of Weeks there. Yeah, he's going to outpull Weeks. Weeks was on the low side. Oh, Rexing almost in the back of Stanley. Just got a good run. Now here comes Weeks to the bottom, getting a good run down the front stretch. I tell you, if I was spotting for Weeks, I'd tell him to get off the bottom. I think that might be a habit that you pick up from running the stock cars here, because everybody wants to go to the bottom, and these cars will run the bottom, but I think the bottom is costing him pace down the backstretch.
Yeah, I know on the NASCAR side, running the bottom usually at these 1.5 at the ovals, length from Stanley there, saves that right front tire, but I'm not sure how much that transfers over to the IndyCar. I'm just taking care of that right front.
It's about the same, except we don't have as much total. Well, actually, when you start adding the downforce that we generate, yeah, you could actually generate that much of total weight on the tire itself. Probably then some, because I don't think the Cup cars generate as much downforce, of course, these guys do. So there might be some crossover there. I think, though, running the bottom, he should probably see around him right now. I think he's looking ahead too far and seeing what those guys are doing in front of him. If he probably just looks around him a little bit, see everyone's up top, maybe start doing a little monkey see, monkey do, and see how he does up there, and then maybe experiment with the higher line. If he doesn't like it, he always go back down to the bottom. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, too, is like from the bottom, how much does that aero wash really kill that right front? He has to push on the nose and everything like that. So I think that's another thing you got to consider in these Indy cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, guys, we are already 44 laps into this stint for a lot of these leaders. So that has flown by. So if we're going to go by what they did last time, Bodie went 53 laps his last stint. We're 45 laps into this second stint. It felt like we just stopped. It felt like we just had pit stops.
Yeah,
that's how fast his pace is going. By. Yeah, that's how fast his pace is going. Before we get to those pit stops real quick, do want to thank the fine folks at Warriors for Peace. Warriors for Peace Foundation, promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Do you want to check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information? And we want to thank them for their support of the ERL's IndyCar Series for this season. They are the title sponsors. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't. Fode's going to be one of the first to pit. I don't think I've seen him get behind anybody at all on this stint. I don't know how he's saving any fuel up there, and for that matter, Chad, maybe even Stanley for that matter. I mean, they've been kind of sticking the nose open, not really behind very many people for the entire stint. Caution, caution, caution. Hunter Smith. Nope. Gavin. Where we got? Gavin Hibbs.
Oh. Look here, see what happened.
Oh, loose off it. Oh, loose off the corner.
Yeah, just lost it.
And that's disappointing. And that might be that we're using too much. Normally, when you run that low and you have too much weight, Jacker, the back end wants to kind of come around on you, especially at this track for whatever reason. So that is. Well, maybe he can get that fixed. I don't know how much of his cars we'll see in this replay here. Ooh. I didn't see a lot of suspension damage or suspension hitting, so maybe just a new nose cone, hopefully. But that's going to mean pit road for everybody.
All
So
the
this will
leaders coming down.
be, yeah, this still, I mean, another stop. Everyone's going to have to do one more stop after this still, for sure. Yeah, we're looking right around lap 200 for everybody to possibly get the final stops. So Stanley's going to beat everyone off pit road. Fode's second. Brophy now up to third. Surprise, surprise. Matthew Weeks fourth. Frankenfeld fifth. Pinero sixth. Craig Forsyth has worked his way up to seventh. Rexing eighth. Del Porto ninth. And Eric Mikado. Welcome to the top 10, Eric. He is in 10th. The weather situation, not much has changed. Wind blowing to the north at 1 mile per hour, but that's not impacting these cars at all. Track temp 80 degrees, not impacting these cars at all. Ambient temp 77 degrees, not really impacting these cars at all. So I don't think the external forces are going to have play any difference to how this race is going to finish out. But Stanley with a great pit stop, 8.5 in the box, 33.4 on the road, and he moves up to the front. Now, in front of him, this is where we'll talk about the IndyCar wave around rule, where we have Kevin Hayes and Justin Vandermark. They are going to get at one to go here very shortly, a wave around command, and that will allow them to pass the pace car and join the field at the tail end. They might even be able to pit. I'm not quite sure if they'll have time and everything on that one. But they'll get the wave around, and that will get them back on the lead lap, which this is a big savings for Justin in the Pepsi car because he got caught on pit road speeding, had a 40-second hold, fell a lap down under that green flag pit stop, managed to stay at one lap, stayed out here for this stint under this caution so he can get the wave around. And what he really, really needs at this point probably is another quick caution, but he's back on the lead lap. So half the hard part's done. Now the other half of the hard part is getting another caution to help you fall back in line with everyone else in front of you.
And the cautions have been kind of hard to come by tonight. We've only had 2 or 3 of them, I believe, at this point. So a lot of green flag racing here tonight, which has been awesome.
Yeah, these guys the last couple of races have done really, really well keeping it off each other. Of course, Indianapolis, so we had 153 laps at the start of the race, caution free. And then towards the end, it kind of came into a little bit of a caution fest because, well, everyone wants to race hard in this Indianapolis 500. But but you can't blame them there. But I mean, 153 laps of a green flag race in Indianapolis brought a lot of intrigue to that race because green flag pit stops are so horribly underrated because a lot of times drivers don't practice them very often. And those that do can make up major ground by just pulling off a very successful green flag pit stop, not getting any penalties or anything. So there you see the guys in front of the leaders getting the wave around. So the pace car now picks up Ethan Stanley, who will control the field once the pace car leaves here coming in next time by. And then we will go back to green at lap 153. We're at 151 of 248 right now. Again, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the ERN's coverage of the ERL, the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. We're at lap 151 of 248. I believe it's our third caution of the night. Currently, our leader is Ethan Stanley, who's picked up the lead coming off of pit road. Tyler Fode is second. Jason Brophy, your points leader, is in third. But make sure to smash that like button, click subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future races here on ERN, including next week for the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series finale, the 2024A season finale at Gateway. Double points. The championship will continue on to Gateway next week, regardless of what happens here. And we will go green next time by when the field is directly under the command of Ethan Stanley. We'll bring them up to speed coming off of corner number 4. A little bit more of a traditional IndyCar start. We figure one more stop after this. So still a lot of racing and a little strategy still left to play, but everybody needs one more stop. So it might just be race hard to the end. We'll see. You really need to get to very close lap 200, though, to make this thing work. So can they squeeze 50 laps out of this tank? I think they can. We'll see how they do. We're going to start that run here. Lap 153 at 2:48, back underway. Green flag here at the Texas 600K. Your leader, Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fode, who's led many laps, P2. Jason Brophy, your points leader in P3. Matthew Weeks, the real rookie of this series. He is back and forth there in that Red Bull livery. And Chad Frankenfeld, who has been at the lead or up at the front all day today. That's probably about as farthest back we've seen Chad right here. He is trying to work his way back up to the front. And Chad was on pit road for 10.1 seconds, or in the box for 10.1 seconds. I wonder if we go back, if we were to watch that pit stop, maybe he missed his marks. That's the only thing I'm thinking of there. Weeks now in getting passed by Frankenfeld. Now he is into the grasp of veteran Craig Forsyth, the Canadian on the high side. Rexing taking a look in the middle, going to follow the Canadian through. And Rexing going to give up a, he's going to fight for the position, staying on the bottom here in 3 and 4. And he will now fall back down to 7th. But again, you get sight of the leaders. That's not a bad thing. Right now, back at the front, Fode back to the lead as he gets around Stanley. Here comes Chad Frankenfeld, and now we're starting to look like we were just about 5-10 laps ago. Notice who's not pushing the issue. That's a very bright green car right there, that private label team hype entry of Jason Brophy. Not really pushing an issue at all. He's like, I'm up here. I see you guys. I'm not going to go for the lead right now. But sure as heck, if we get within 10 laps, I totally expect them to be up there. Hunter Smith been up there and aggressive all day. Hunter Smith now on the high side of Brophy through the quad oval in the front stretch. Move Hunter Smith up to 6th.
As you saw, Chad Frankenfield was able to work his way around Ethan Stanley and look to the outside of Fode. He just couldn't quite stay alongside of him.
Ooh. I think Tyler might have caught the inside grass there that time.
Chad clear, not quite.
He was just about clear going into turn 3. If he wanted to, he could have done a Brazilian clear on that one if he wanted to. It was barely clear enough almost.
I think that's really the first time in the last 70 laps these two have been side by side that Chad's almost been that clear.
Oh, Fode kind of floats up a little bit, gives a little bit of dirty air. That is not illegal. There is a blocking rule here in the league, though. You cannot block. But that's reacting to the car behind you is what is defined as blocking here. Hunter Smith, teammate to Chad Frankenfeld, now up to 4th there on the high side, following up Ethan Stanley to the front. Oh, drove him right to the white line.
Chad's throwing everything at him, trying to get around him, get that lead, but hasn't been able to clear him on the high side at all. Bodie just maintaining that white line, and Chad just not able to do it.
Now, I will give a big shout out to despite all his issues today, Hunter Smith. Hunter had a 500 that he probably wants to forget. He finished 100. Well, I'm going to say how far off the pace, but he finished 32nd. So it's not a race you really want to remember as next to last there at Indianapolis. But good recovery here, and that includes losing portion of his front wing and still getting it replaced and staying on the lead lap with a very fortuitous caution that fell to his favor. So a very big shout out to Hunter Smith, up 15 spots. Good recovery after a very subpar Indianapolis, the one that he definitely would like to forget. And of course, Caleb Bensey not in the lineup. He is your Indianapolis winner. There's a very small history of drivers that have actually won the next race after Indianapolis. Probably the one that I'm the most impressed with after winning the race after Indianapolis was Juan Montoya, when he won in 2000, when he won in the IRL car, and then the next week in kart when he goes to Milwaukee and wins there in a kart car. Two different cars, two different series, but still a pretty darn good result for Juan Montoya back in 2000. Frankenfeld on the bottom around Stanley, moving him back up to the front. Matthew Weeks now getting a good run on the bottom, moving him back up into the top 5. Craig Forsyth just to his high side in 6th. Of course, I don't know if, again, giving up my age here, I don't know if, Pinero was way up in the wall. I don't know if he made contact, but it looked awfully close. Giving away my age, I don't know if you remember back at all the very first IndyCar race here at Texas Motor Speedway, when the IRL came here in '97. The race originally was given to Billy Boat. So Billy Boat and his team, racing for AJ Foyt, run race 2 or come to victory lane. Here comes Frankenfeld. Going to stay on the inside. Going to stay in the draft. It's not going to pop out. So they bring the whole team and car to victory lane. They celebrate like they won the race. They got the trophy. Here comes Weeks' good run to the outside. Well, we had to check up a little bit. That's going to cost him someone with him. And so here comes a very upset Arie Luyendyk into victory lane, complaining that he was the one that actually won the race. AJ took offense to that and decided that he would start a fist fight with Arie Luyendyk, a two-time Indy 500 winner. So 6 Indy 500 wins were fighting right there in victory lane at Texas Motor Speedway. AJ actually got a pretty good lick on Arie as Arie shuffled away, and was later found out through appeal and everything that USAC lost track of scoring at one point during the race, and it was Arie Luyendyk that won the race. To this day, Arie Luyendyk has never received this trophy from that race, but he is the winner. And he's one of the few, actually, that have won Indianapolis and the next week have won the next race after.
Now that is correct. I love the history. I didn't know any of that. So that's wild to me that he won the race technically, but doesn't have a trophy to show for it.
Yeah, I think Billy Boat still has a trophy. Oh, here comes Weeks.
Oh,
Weeks on the wall. That's going to be hurt. That's going to hurt him. That's going to be very, very painful. Let's see if he's damaged. I think he hit hard enough that there's got to be something with that car. I'm going to ride with him here a little bit. That was a pretty hard lick. Let's see what happens.
Mind. Like that same situation in the trial, will just maybe peeking outside and the car in front didn't expect it, or coming in up on Chad, I believe.
Oh, he might have made a little bit of contact. Chad might actually have saw a 0X or a 1X pop up in his screen and Weeks kind of bounces off and into the wall, and really one of the narrowest points of the racetrack. So unfortunately, he's coming to pit road. That's going to be night done for Weeks, and that's a shame. But that is very much a rookie mistake. That's something that he can learn from. That when he wants to come back to these cars, he could probably take a lot of solace in the fact that he raced a lot of these guys that have hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, tens of thousands of laps in these cars. That he raced them very hard and very well for a good chunk of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the problem areas on the track that you mentioned a couple times tonight. Just that dog leg and trial where it kind of narrows up a little bit, and 3 wide, it's just tough to make work. That car in the middle has to maintain, and the car up high has to kind of take a different angle coming through those dog legs. Having to come together right there. Definitely a lot of speed tonight for a week. So hopefully he comes back for some more of these things.
So he's still on pit road. Looks like he might be out of the car. Yes, he is out of the car. So I believe that might be definitely night done for him. But back up to the front, we do have Fode, still have Frankenfeld. Don't know if Frankenfeld has any damage from that contact. I would probably guess not at this point. We probably would have seen him hit pit road if he got a meatball or something. Ethan Stanley still with this lead pack. Hunter Smith, again, I told you, I've given a couple shout-outs. Drive of the night, I think, so far for one that had a very, very much an Indy 500 you want to forget. He has worked his way up to 4th. Craig Forsyth. Forsyth had an Indy 500 he liked to forget. Almost in the wall on corner exit there in 2. Forsyth was actually in a good position in the late running. Unfortunately, a very late pass attempt, and unfortunately it was Nick Sudik who stuck the nose in there going into 3 and made contact with the right rear or left rear of Craig and sent him spinning into the turn 3 wall, ending his day. Kind of an odd situation for both Craig and Nick, who were both raced each other a long time and or know each other and are friends. Always makes an awkward situation when you wreck a buddy. But it ended Craig's day, and so he's recovering nicely here to 6th. Hey, and there's Justin in the Pepsi car. Vandermaal, he has moved his way up to 7th after getting the wave around and staying out and staying on the lead lap. And he actually did come in and pit on lap 151 and managed to catch back up to the rest of the group here. And he is now 30 laps into his stint and is looking pretty good for a return to the lead pack as he is sticking to the backside of Forsyth. And he's only 5/10, about 2 seconds off the lead right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a story of a lot of comers and goers tonight. We saw Rexing go up to the front a couple times, now back in 8th. Saw Brophy and Panero up front for a little bit. Now they're back in 9th and 10th. And really the only 2 that have been really consistent in Cody and Frankenfield, I feel like. Even Hunter Smith up there in 3rd. We saw him heading for the lead a couple times, have a little on-track incident, and then work his way back up. But a lot of shuffling positions.
Yeah, Justin is 7/10 off the lead. I was looking at the wrong overlay, and I added everything up. It's like, oh, he's a couple seconds behind, and I'm looking at him physically on the racetrack. I'm like, no, he's not 2 seconds behind. Here, look at him there. He's on the bottom now. He's up to 6th. On the bottom, he's right behind. Is that Hibbs up there? Hibbs, we saw Hibbs sideways with the last caution. I was wondering if it was just the front nose, and it was the front nose. Hibbs is now 7th, so Hibbs is returned.
That's a good point. That's pretty incredible. We saw him kind of nose it head on into the wall, but apparently it hit kind of flat with the front and just only lost the nose, like you mentioned. And not a lot of repairs damaged that suspension. So very fortunate. Gavin Hibbs and working his way, trying to crack the top 5 here.
Well, one way to know if Hibbs is kind of hurt or not is if you go to the in-car, and we'll go to the roll bar view, and we could see how his car tracks on the straight. If he has a lot of yeah, it's a little bit to the right, but I don't think that has anything. He might have the offset set that way, going a little bit to the right, but I don't think that has anything to do with how his car is tracking. And it certainly is not impacting speed. I mean, last time by, he did a 2:14.9, which is every bit what the leaders were doing.
Still plenty of speed in that 95.
I wouldn't go as low as he was going off of, especially later in a run, as he was coming off of 1 and 2. That's where he got loose. I'd maybe start thinking about a higher line as we get later into this run. And we're about at that point where it happened for us last time. And we're about really another 12 laps or so from getting to lap 200. And then we're pretty sure anybody can make a final pit stop and go to the end.
And I cringe every time you mention pit stops because I feel like it's been a jinx twice tonight already.
Panero back there making some moves. See him aggressively pull out from behind Forsyth to get the position, moving him up to 8th. It's our pole sitter. Panero Brophy dominated good chunks of Indianapolis our last race. Unfortunately, he had a little bit of contact. The car had to make an extra stop, or had to make a stop to lose up track position, and recovered to finish 4th. But man, for a while he was back there in 8th, and it didn't look possible, and he brought that thing home in that last stash there. Faster than just about anybody else. And right now, let's take a look at this top 5. Fody still leading the way. By far your lap leader of the night. Frankenfeld just been his constant wingman on the outside, and there was momentary lack of concentration there. Almost took out the leaders right in front of the pack. Ethan Stanley is now 3rd. Hunter Smith 4th with the brand new wing, and Gavin Hibbs now 4th with the brand new wing. Hunter Smith 5th with the brand new wing. So the Dallara wing manufacturer is getting a little extra virtual money this time by replacing all these broken wings we keep having today.
I wonder how many more they have stacked in the virtual truck down there in the infield.
Of course, back in the day, Dallara wasn't the only chassis manufacturer for IndyCar in the modern era. G-Force also had, which later became Panos, was also one of the early manufacturers of the Indy Racing League. It was a G-Force, it was Dallara, and it was Riley and Scott. Back in those days, the team budgets were very, very tight, and IndyCar IRL wanted just to take their product to as many tracks as they could. And one of the tracks they took the product to was Dover at the Monster Mile. They raced there in 98 and 99. And after a while, it really became that the team owners really, really hated those races because their cars would always get banged up. But there was the other side of the coin where the chassis manufacturers loved it when they went back to Dover, knowing that they'd be getting all sorts of orders for new parts to test chassis and tubs after all the cars got wrecked. And normally you don't see a lot of wear and tear on the front wings on oval tracks, or at least super speedways like this. You'd see it on the road courses, or maybe at a Iowa, or maybe a Richmond, or maybe even a Milwaukee, something like that. But rarely you don't see very often cars recovering from losing wings here on the bigger super speedways. 197 to 248, coming to what I think the last pit window is going to be right around 200 or so. A lot of these guys have gone 48 laps since their last stop, since that last yellow. Fody, Frankenfeld, Stanley, Smith, Hibbs. A lot of the regular suspects are starting to make their move up into the top, or a higher portion of the top 10, including Craig Forsyth, Panero. And here is the first of the takers. That is Frankenfeld. He's going to have to try to save some fuel. Now, can he get down to the crank? Can he get down, get down? Oh, that was close. That was close. We'll see if he gets a 40-second hold or not.
Yeah, we saw him super aggressive last time on pit entry, trying to make time up on Tyler Fody, and thought again right there.
So he's gotten 49 laps on this stint. He needs to go 48, almost 50 in the next stint. Maybe he's doing a short fill. We'll see. Up on the jacks, new set of tires, down and away, no hold, final stop done. Chad Frankenfeld successful on his last stop. Now he needs to bring this thing up to speed on this very slippery and, as we get to the end, very narrow apron coming off of pit road.
Yeah,
there he goes.
I'm curious to see where that's going to cycle out, because he went down pit road by himself, no cars with him to get a slipstream off him when he gets back out here. And we saw the last green flag pit stop, the guys that kind of did the short stint, short pitted a little bit, didn't really work out for him all that well. The guys that stayed out.
Fody to pit road. Yeah, you're right. We'll see how well he does in clean air by himself. But Fody down to pit road, coming off of corner number 4, getting down to, I think he did in time, down to the 45 miles per hour, which is criminally slow. That really needs to be something iRacing fixes with an adjustable slider or something to allow these drivers to come at pit road speeds more akin to what real IndyCar racing would be. We'd be closer to like 60 miles per hour still, but down and away, no penalty for Fody, and that is his final stop here at lap 202. Ethan Stanley now is your leader. To his outside is Gavin Hibbs. Both these guys, that's Stanley to pit road. Also coming to pit road, that is Hunter Smith. Smith 54 laps, Stanley 54 laps. So both on an equal stint.
Chad with a run here on Fody is able to clear him. But Chad Frankenfield in front of Tyler Fody.
And that's exactly what he wants, because that will big push coming off the corner there for Fody.
Yeah, it's the first time he's had dirty air in a while. He's had that lead.
Yeah. If you don't have your tool set right, your car's not going to work right. Ethan Stanley, final stop is done. He is off pit road. Hunter Smith, final stop done. He is off pit road. Gavin Hibbs coming up to speed. He actually coming down on speed, down the pit road, off the backstretch. This will be his final stop. DePorto now assumes the lead, right with his countryman Pinero. Jared Rexing is in third. Brophy is fourth. Mikado is fifth. Nick DeGroot now worked his way up to sixth. Hibbs on pit road, looking for his final stop, getting to his stall. See if DePorto now makes the run down pit road. No, DePorto's going to stay out. But Hibbs should be done. Yeah, he's down and away. No penalties for him. His final stop is done. Pinero pit road. Good approach for him, nice and clean. Now a long run down to the very first pit stall. And you might as well just feel like you're on pit road forever as you're going as fast as you can possibly go on pit road. And you see all these cars on the outside just whipping on by. Down to his stall, up on the jacks. Enough fuel to the end. Going to get on the new set of tires. He is down and away. No penalties for him. So his final stop is done. Del Porto now, we're watching him. And he is still the leader. And he is going to, he's going to take, he does a very weird fade from the high side of turns 2 and 3 down to the bottom of 4, but he fades across the entire front backstretch. So let's watch this again to see what he does. Coming down, going to exit, going to go up high. And then fades back down across. No, it's going to go up high this time. Now he fades, and now this time he comes into the pits.
He faked me out last time, too. I thought he was coming to pit road. He had that kind of an entry angle.
Yeah, he had a whole fade thing, and I don't quite get it. But he's with Rexing, so he's going to have some help coming off pit road if neither one of them have penalties. This turns the lead over the Brophy. We know Brophy can save fuel, but there is no amount of fuel capacity in that car that can get him to the finish without another stop. And here he comes to pit road. That turns the lead over to Mikado. Mikado now 62 laps on his current stint. Boy, he's done a real good job. And right now, Mikado with Mark Reblis right behind him. Reblis is 2 laps down. Mikado is really going to be sitting in the catbird seat if there's a caution coming out, or a caution that comes out while he's out in the lead. No, he's coming to pit road, but he has a whole lap lead on everybody at the moment. And he hits pit road, getting a very conservative approach there. Gets him down to the line and to the limit. And now we wait for Jason Brophy to come off pit road. And now we have the battle for the lead coming off of corner number 2 down the backstretch. And everybody is together.
And they're still led by the Frankenfield and Fody duo, and kind of reverse roles from what we've seen for pretty much all this race. Is now Chad's on the bottom defending that white line.
Remember this. Oh, and here comes the Porto. The bottom opens up, and that's what happened. Sometimes if you give just a hint, just a whiff of the bottom, there will be a driver that will take it and leave it to the Brazilian to fill that spot down to the bottom. 3 and 4. Porto is fighting for this position. We're 3 wide, 2 by 2, coming down into the quad oval area where it gets really skinny.
And what a move by Deporto. Just kind of saw the opening and just kind of caught Chad off guard there and took it 3 wide for the lead.
I like to call that the Brazilian opportunity. There's just a crack there. Just the crack. And he's like, you know what? I'm going for it. And I think Chad would like to attack him back and get that back. But you don't see Porto at all coming off the bottom. So this is a run to the end, folks. If there's no cautions or anything, and I just jinxed this, but if there's no cautions or anything, this is a sprint to the end. No more stops. Everyone should be good to go. 2:15 now, 2:16 of 2:48, and this is a dogfight to the end. In this group, everybody's on the lead lap. It's Del Porto, Frankenfield, Stanley, Fody, Forsyth, Pinero, Rexing, Hibbs. Do we got Justin in there with the Pepsi car? Yes, he's in there as well. Here's Brophy. Here's Hunter Smith. Everybody together from 11th up to 1st, all in this pack. Throw a blanket over them. This is your battle for the lead and for the win.
And this is going to get really interesting because you see, guys like Tyler Cody, who led a large majority of this race, now back and forth, so dealing with dirty air. So he's going to have to figure out a way to get back by these guys and take control of the race back.
And a lot of the guys got in position by efficient pit crews. And you know who else has an efficient pit crew? That's the guys at Blue Egg Marketing. You can rev up your business with Blue Egg. Then you make them your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always on or in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate to success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. One of our premier partners here in the ERL. Rexing to the bottom now. He's back into this battle. Here comes Brophy. He's back into this battle. Mark Reblis is looking in his rearview mirror or on his relative. He's like, oh boy, I got a lot of battlemen behind me. But he just needs to keep pace now. When they get to him, where do you stick that car?
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in as a lap car with these guys fanning out as much as they are, especially down in 1 and 2. Really no safe lane to go in.
And he's going to stay high in 3 and 4. This is Mark. That black car, he is currently on the lead lap. He's a tail end of the lead lap, but he's going to go a lap down here, Norman, very shortly. Del Porto getting really close to Frankenfeld that time. I think Frankenfeld actually led the lap. So now what these cars that are behind Mark, they're getting his dirty air. So it's making the life rough for the leaders, but they're going to be up on him, and they caught him in the wrong.
Oh,
there's
no.
contact. There's 2. There's 3 in the wall. 4, 5. And another car, Craig. Oh.
Ethan Stanley, Justin Vandermarl, Hunter Smith flipping over and over again.
Craig Forsyth is in that. He has a wobbly front, left front. And it was just the slower car, unfortunately, and they caught him all at the wrong spot at the wrong time. You just right there at the narrow part of the racetrack, and that's it. I don't know. I don't know a better way of policing that.
Take a look from the blimp cam here, looking at the leaders. Mark kind of trying to get out of the way, but kind of just stays in the middle there, and they just all bounce off of him on either side.
Just a lot. Hunter had a great race. He's done, unfortunately. Stanley, Justin brought himself back from a lap down. Unfortunately, he's done. I mean, it's a race deal. I mean, I don't want to put blame on anybody, but you gotta see that coming on your relative, and you got to plan ahead. So the Porto's going to stay out, but everybody else is coming to pit road. New tires, they got them, as they like to say, smoke them if you got them, and they're going to put them on, and they're going to have new tires over a mildly set worn of tires on Del Porto's car for 14 laps. But everyone else, they don't need to add fuel, but they are definitely coming in for the freshies. Hunter Smith there with flight on the side of his car. He took flight.
That he did.
And we'll reset the field here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a run coming off pit road, 3 wide. And I think it was Pinero just eking out, and I think it's going to go to Rexing as beating Brophy. Hibbs is coming out. Fody is coming out. The Groot 7th. Mikado 8th. Kevin Hayes now has got himself back on the lead lap as well. He had a little incident early on, I think, with a new front nose. And he is now up to 9th. And I think we just have 9 cars running now to bring us to the end here. 225 of 248. And that just, unfortunately, that last caution was most unfortunate.
Yeah, that was shaping up to be a great finish, as you just mentioned. Like, top 10 was pretty much under a blanket there, so it was going to be a battle to the end. And incredibly, though, you got our 2 championship leaders who didn't get caught up in that, and they're running 2nd and 3rd right now. So,
and that's why they're the championship leaders.
Yeah,
you got the luck and the skill to keep your car clear, and they've been hanging in the back. And it was just now where they kind of brought their cars forward, and very likely they could have got involved in that one as well. But it didn't work out that way, and they were able to sneak their way through. But a lot of other people in the championship point run are going to suffer, unfortunately, as a result of that. Let's go back. Brophy Pinero survived that. Ethan Stanley, unfortunately, he's 3rd in points. He is now out. Tyler Fody, he managed to make his way through that. He is 4th in the championship, so he might actually get. I don't think he's going to catch Stanley in the championship, at least out of this round, but he'll get a lot closer. Nick Sudik started off bad. He had a bad day just right at lap 1. He might lose a little ground to Eric Troiano. Troiano had a big wreck, got involved with a wreck off of corner 2 earlier in the race for one of the cautions. Butch Davis, same way, kind of played a little ping pong coming through kind of a very similar area of the track that we just saw right there, and he went up into the turns 1 and 2 wall to end his day. Frankenfeld, I can't tell you how many times Chad's been in position to win, especially the races that I've broadcasted in. Unfortunately, I have another friend of mine that I watch race a lot, and I often say if you didn't have bad luck, you have no luck at all. Chad just, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time again this race, and he's an 8th, and that's going to cost him. Jared Rexing, though, is on the racetrack still. He's in 9th. He's going to capitalize on a lot of this high attrition, as well as Victor Del Porto, who is staying out as the leader. He is 10th in the championship. He's looking to move forward as well. So a lot of these guys in the top 10 still have some room to move, but the key survivors here specifically are Brophy, Pinero, and Foti. Three of your top 4 are still alive in this race to try to go for the win.
Yeah, you mentioned Chad Frankenfield, wrong place, wrong time. It was unfortunate that pretty much he was running top 3 all night, and that wrong place just happened to be running second there with about 25 to go. So yeah, just great race, but rough ending for him. Looks like Race Control's pinning the tally on the 15 car there, and that's kind of interesting. But yeah, there should be an exciting last 20 laps here, even though the field's narrowed down a little bit. A lot of storylines, like as you mentioned, we got the championship battle there for second and third. That's tight points battle. You got guys looking for their first win of the year. A lot of storylines here for the last 20 laps.
And before we go green, this championship will be decided next week at Worldwide Technology Raceway, one of our premier partners here in the ERL. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis, where you can see the Gateway Arch directly from the stands there. It features a mile and a quarter oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, the Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series, a 2-mile infield road course that is used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, the Porsche Club of America, and a quarter-mile NHRA-sanctioned drag strip that hosts the, and this is always a mouthful here, the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals event. And it also has an infield karting facility. But they are one of our platinum partners, premier partners. And you can find out more about Worldwide Technology Gateway or Worldwide Technology Raceway by going to the link in the description, and you can book tickets or go just drive by and check out some of their facilities. As we are getting ready to go racing here, we want to thank Worldwide Technology Raceway for being one of our partners here in the ERL. Coming to lap 229 to go green and the run to the finish. Oh, they're kind of separating there in the back. Nick DeGroot went wide. We might have a little bit of an accordion action. Hayes might have not have got a good start, but DeGroot's going to get a good run on the inside. Move DeGroot up another spot. Here comes Pinero looking to the outside of his countrymen, but he can't look too far to the outside because here comes Jason.
Oh!
He collects his Rexing and also the Hibbs. What happened?
I don't think there's any contact right here. Maybe. Oh, maybe, yeah, there was. A little bit of contact there between Pinero and Del Porto there. Off of 4. Like Pinero just tried to pull out and make that move. A little too late.
Yeah, take a look here. He gets a great run. Pinero gets a great run. I think he just waited too long to pull out. I'd have to look and see. Did Del Porto crack the throttle at all? I mean, I see him at full throttle going into 3 and 4. The lights are all red.
Nowhere to go.
And he just, that's going to be a call. I think that might be an easy call for race control. So I didn't see, if something happened to Del Porto where he got a little loose or something, and he had to roll out of it, and I would say, okay, well, he just got a little loose. But unfortunately, Adriano, it looked like Adriano just kind of, you can't bump draft in these guys. You can't bump draft in these cars, guys. Oh, wow.
unfortunate right there. You see Rexing right there. The car's destroyed. He's going to bring that thing down pit road.
Yeah, he's just trying to get some extra laps here. That will put him higher than a couple other drivers. And that's not, I mean, we had talked about him in the championship. I mean, he's ninth in the championship. That he's only 3 points behind Frankenfeld. And he's only 15 behind Butch Davis. So, I mean, every little bit helps. Every little bit counts. So he'll go in and retire the car, but he'll put an extra lap on a couple people, maybe pick up a few extra spots here at the end. But that's going to be day done for him. But maybe he got enough points to move up a little bit in the championship. But I got to see what race control is going to do to Pinero. I got to believe that's a tally. If you ask me, that's a tally. But we'll see what race control decides that they are going to do here. If they're going to let it stand, and that's fine. They can let it stand. But it looked to me that there was pretty direct contact there. He just took too long to pull out.
And it looks like they did give the tally to the 56 of Pinero there.
Yeah, I don't wish that on Pinero. Pinero's, and we got enough time that he's going to be back up with these leaders, in no time flat. So I really don't wish that on anybody. But I mean, given the situation with the car count left, and how is I thought that was Gavin Hibbs coming back on the racetrack. That's actually that was Kevin Hayes. Given the situation that he's in on the car count, I mean, he could probably easily recover. But it's going to be a little bit harder for him here as well. And I've known Adriano as a pretty clean racer, so I'm sure he doesn't feel too happy about it. And on top of that, that was his countryman. So here we are in the late stages, lap 232 of 248. We do also want to shout out the Warriors for Peace Foundation, the title sponsors of the ERL IndyCar Series. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. And you should be able to check out all of our partners, Blue Egg, Worldwide Technology. They should be in the description. And Warriors for Peace, check them out at Warriors for Peace. That's the number 4, peace.org. Find out more information about them. We want to thank all the sponsors that have spent a good deal of their sponsorship money to help us bring this action to you. Got a little bit of an old school kart race going on here as we're down to now just 6 cars remaining out of a field of 26, but that's okay. But we're going to see a heck of a finish here. Brophy, Foti, DeGroot, Mikado, Hayes, Pinero. That is the 6 that matter right now as we are coming to, one more lap to go. Lights are out on the pace car. Pace car will pull off. The field will then go under the command of Brophy. And I would imagine as what Brophy's going to do is going to park that green private label team hype car right on that white line at the very bottom and not come an inch off it.
Yeah, we saw that move out of Foti and out of Frankenfield, and I think we only saw him clear on the top side maybe once or twice. I think you're right there. I expect that out of Brophy, and see if Foti and these guys are able to get by him. As I think this is the first time that Brophy's had clean air all night, other than
pretty much has. And again, if you're just joining us late, you've come back. You've joined us at a heck of a time. We're at 2:34. We're gonna go green at 2:35. We're gonna finish this thing at 2:48. But this is ERN's coverage of round 11 of 12. So we are in the thick of the championship. Your 2 championship rivals are right there in the picture almost. One at the front, one at the back. They're bookmarking this 6-car, what remains of this 6-car field. We're here at Texas Motor Speedway, as you can see from the paint from the walls there. As currently Jason Brophy is your leader with a handful of laps to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Share it with a friend. Help that algorithm as we are getting ready to go green, this time by DePorto, still on the racetrack, I think. Nope, there's another car on the racetrack. Who is that? Vandermeer. So he's back on the racetrack 9 laps down. So he's going to run this out. Green flag in the air. 2:35. Here we go.
Root trying to get the inside of Foti there. Thought better of it. just how much this field is thinned out here. I think Bodie's going to have a huge run on Brophy here.
Yeah, a lot of room there. That Brophy got a big jump, and he's going to just fill in that vacuum right there at the end. Going to take a look to the high side. Here comes Nick DeGroot. Here comes Eric Mercado. I know a lot of these drivers up at the front by reputation, by broadcasting some of the other leagues and the official races that we broadcast on Race First. We know Brophy a lot of experience. We know Fody has a lot of experience. I know Mercado has a lot of experience. I know DeGroot has a lot of experience. I know Pinero has a ton of experience. I don't know about Kevin Hayes, but Kevin Hayes has definitely put his car in a place where he could definitely do a ton of learning. And here's Fody on the high side with Brophy, and they are giving neither one of them a lot of room. Brophy was kind of moving up the racetrack, kind of forcing Fody to kind of go up the racetrack. Fody has a nose going into 3, but coming out of 4. Here comes Brophy. He's going to have the lead. Mercado up high. He's going to try to make a run on this group.
DeGroot coming with a run, trying to look under Fody. And as you mentioned, Brophy kind of pinning it to that white line, trying to protect.
.230 coming to 10 to go. And like I said, on the bottom, Brophy's not leaving the bottom at all. Mercado is actually going to fill in that gap there. No, a little arrow rush there. He's going to go up the racetrack, kind of cause DeGroot to check up a little bit. But DeGroot's going to have the momentum, move DeGroot. Nope, DeGroot's going to fall back now as they go side by side with Mercado to the lead. Holding the lead is Brophy. Fody falling in line, trying to get a run this through the draft. Here comes Mercado. Same thing, but he's going to run. He's going to try to run into a very narrow portion of the racetrack. And as I said, Kevin Hayes in a great learning experience. He's now moved under Nick DeGroot, noted journalist, and he has moved himself up to 5th in that car. Hayes did not have a good Indy 500. This is a good rebound race for him. Brophy, Fody, Mercado out the line. 9 to go, coming down to 8 to go.
This isn't going to come down on the wire. It's all about getting the run right at the right time for Tyler Fody and whoever's on that high side, but you can't really back it up to get the run because you got all these other guys behind you, so it makes it so tough to complete that pass on the leader.
And look who's back up in 3rd.
Yeah, didn't take long.
I told you it was basically the tally was just an account, basically no more than a smack on the wrist a little bit for Pinero with 6 cars left. I mean, he just drove right up to the front. Now, the problem is with him, he just needs to find an opening and try to sneak through somehow. He's not going to find a lot of giving at the front, especially when they know who they're racing against. So all those guys are going to be like, I'm going to race this guy a lot harder now. But he's going to go 3 wide through 2 with DeGroot and Hayes and Mercado. Brophy comfortably on the bottom. Actually kind of put a little bit of a cushion there. It's going to get eaten up here on the front stretch. Fody's going to try to make a run at the line. He's not going to be able to lead it at the line, but he gets a good run at him. Fody has the fastest lap of the race. He set that back a while ago at 23.889. And that was a 220.0, but that was probably set in the draft. Brophy now turning laps in the neighborhood of 215. That time by at 216. Fody at 216.2. He's faster. He just can't get around. Pinero even faster at 217.1. Again, same thing. He's getting a run. He just can't get around.
Run out of space so quick. And you mentioned the tally on Pinero. The one thing that might do is having that one tally.
Close.
Having that one tally might limit how aggressive you can be here, because if you get that second tally, you're disqualified out of the race. So that pretty much.
That's true. That's true. Very good point.
Might think twice about making a crazy move.
3 to go. This time by coming to 3 miles to go. Brophy staying. He's actually moving Fody up a little bit. He's going to let it the line that time by. 3 miles, 2 laps. Brophy to the bottom. Fody trying to get a run at the top. Going to get a run off 2, down the back straight. Brophy doesn't leave much that bottom lane by himself. He just stays down there the entire time through 3 and 4. Oh, Pinero grabs a little bit of the apron. That caused him to check up a little bit. Here comes DeGroot to the high side, looking for third spot. The final lap, white flag lap in the air. Brophy down low. DeGroot very high coming off the corner. He's going to lose a little momentum. Brophy comes up to the second lane to do a little bit of make it a little bit wider entry for Fody. Fody goes down to the bottom, trying to get a run. Here is the run to the checkered flag, coming off the bottom, coming off the 4 to the checkered flag. DeGroot with the great run at the end there, but Brophy with the win. Fody second and DeGroot third. Here's your margins of victory: 0.007 for Fody, 0.036 for DeGroot. That separates your top 3 from the win. Brophy with yet another win on the season. That is win number 4 for Jason Brophy. It ties him with Adriano Pinero for the lead in the series this season. Woof.
Yeah, what a finish. Fody kind of backed off going into 3, get that run out of 4, and almost got it. It was so close coming to the line. Not quite able to get it from Jason Brophy.
And that last lap for Brophy coming to the checkered, a 2:15.88 or 8:99. So closers be closing. That was a good solid lap by himself on the bottom. Let's, if we can, take a look at the final standings, and then we'll get into the interview room and find out what these guys thought of this race. A bit of a long one for these guys, I'm sure. And here is tonight's results from Texas. We had 5 cautions for 20 laps. Jason Brophy is your winner, and led 20 laps overall. So very much in a Rick Mears at Indy type approach. Those 20 laps really only came at the very end of this race, and he put himself in a position. But remember, we saw him at the start that he was way back in the back. It doesn't really matter where you are at the start. He had a good start, but it's where where you finish is entirely what matters. And so, very much a Rick Mears type strategy that you would see in the heydays at Indy, where he brought his car back up and to lead the race at the closing stages and win the race. Fody led an incredible 138 laps, by far your biggest lap leader in the entire day, up 20 spots, and loses by 0.007. So 007. Was the interval there to the leader. That's how much he lost by, and I'm sure he's not going to be happy about that. Nick DeGroot, quiet all day long, up 20 spots, didn't lead a single lap, but was there at the finish. The noted journalist finishes there at 0.029 off the leader for third. Pinero cost himself a little bit of the momentum there at the end. I think when he caught the apron, he led 14 laps. He finishes 4th. Mikado is 5th. A good run for Mikado, a very quiet day for him, but he was up and down the top, up and down the order in the whole day, but managed to steer clear of a lot of these events and finished up 2 spots from where he started, so not too bad. Kevin Hayes up 20 spots, probably a good learning experience for him as he finishes 6th. Justin Vandermaal recovers his car and gets it going to make the last couple laps here and finishes 7th, 9 laps down. Jared Rexing finishes 8th. 8 laps down. Victor Del Porto finishes 9th, and Gavin Hibbs with a great race, but unfortunately, 2 incidents was one too many for Gavin, and unfortunately, it limited him to 10th, but it was a good top 10 finish nevertheless. Moving on to the top 20, as we have, if I can get that to load for me, Craig Forsyth 11th. He probably expected a little bit more. Stanley was up with the leaders all day. He's probably disappointed with that 12th and that incident there that took out a whole host of people. I can only imagine Chad Frankenfeld's a little upset, led 27 laps, finished 13th. Hunter Smith much the same way, his teammate 14th. Mark Reblis, probably he feels the worst out of all those people, and I understand where he's coming from. Finishes 15th. Matthew Weeks, a great debut for Matthew there in 16th. Hope to see more of him here in the Indy cars. Was amongst the leaders all day, but got a little squeeze there in the quad oval area. Finishes 16th. Tate Lytle 17th. Butch Davis, much the same way with Weeks, got squeezed there at the quad oval area. Finishes 18th. Chris Samard, didn't see what happened to him, finished 19th, but he was up with the leaders for much of the first stint. Ryan Schuld got ran over by Troiano, unfortunately, and finishes 20th. And right behind him would be Triano in 21st. Nick Sudik, Justin Fortner, David Tooker, Trey Holmes, Casey Hatchett, Bill Colley. Chris Wright, of course, is doing admin. He was not running tonight. But a lot of those guys got taken out in that first lap incident, or first, 100, 200 feet of the race, when all heck broke loose there and unfortunately ended their days extremely, extremely early. Okay, so there you go. For anybody that missed the entire race, there we gave you a little bit of a summary of what's going on. Let's take a look here. Who is in the waiting room? There he is, Nick DeGroot. Shall we bring him up?
Let's do it.
Here he is in the booth with Gary and Nick, the other Nick, actually. It is noted journalist, as I like to say, Nick DeGroot, with the surprise podium finish, man. You were just kind of hanging out, avoiding trouble. Very much a DeGroot strategy, and it paid off once again for you tonight with a third-place finish here in a very long and a very high attrition race here at Texas.
Yeah, man, I have a knack for not finishing these races lately. So I went in this one, knowing it was a pack race. I'm like, okay, leaders aren't going to get away. Just chill in the back, let them take care of themselves. And I knew there'd be less cars at the end. I didn't think there'd be only 5 or 6. So that definitely really helped my strategy of just hiding. But yeah, it almost worked out for us. Just need a little more room to put that car.
Well, I feel good that you finished third because I think the last 2 races I broadcasted with you in the lineup, something happened on the first lap and you were taken out. But looks like you avoided that mess on the first lap today, snuck through that, and brought the car home third. So congratulations. I know before, I'm assuming next you're heading off to do one of the fixed or open Indy 500. So we'll let you go. So that's the big race that's obviously coming up this week. But shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone to say hi to, go right ahead because maybe we got the Godso in the booth, the monkey off your back.
I sure hope so, man. It's been a long time since I got a podium in this series. But yeah, congrats to Brophy on the well-earned win there. And thank you, Factory Back Motorsports, CoveyMoore.com, Motorsport.com. Everybody else who supports us, Canvas Shoes, and hopefully we can get another podium, maybe a win at Gateway.
All right. Well, congratulations on the podium here. Good luck at Indy, and we'll see you in a week at Gateway.
Thank you, Gary.
All right. Let's bring up Tyler Fody. Tyler got you here in the booth with Gary and Nick. Man, 0.007. You can't get much closer to that. I know you want a little bit more. You dominated the night, lap lead count and everything. I would say most people will be happy for a second place finish. I would suspect you wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit, especially after how long of a night it was. But if someone's going to beat me, I mean, Brophy's been him and Pinheiro have been the class of the series. So happy to really be battling him with how the season has gone. So, but yeah, it was a fun night. It was a long night, and so close there. I've been watching it back, and I don't know how much more I could have done really, but yeah, it was a close one.
Was there anything on the high side? I know you and Chad fought all night in opposite roles, one down low, one up high, and the other one was down low. The other one was there any possibility to make that high side work, or it was inviting, but it just never really awarded you what you really needed to have happen?
It was the outside was better earlier in the race, but as the track started to cool down, it was pretty like bottom dominant. Chad actually, that very first run when he was leading, burned up the tires a little bit just from running the bottom.
We figured that, yeah.
Yeah, so the top was good. If this was a day race or late afternoon, it would have been multi-lane for sure, but just as the track cooled down, it became one line. So I was really having to just time the run and try and beat him to the line there.
One last question, and you were kind of involved in it, but made your way through it, was the incident that really took out a bulk of the leaders coming up to the lap traffic. Was there anything that could have happened better in that situation?
Yeah, I still haven't seen fully what happened. I've heard there was a lapper and guys were splitting them and stuff happened. And I had gotten shuffled back there, which I guess ended up being the best case for me because I was right where I was running a lap or two prior. So, yeah, I don't know. I heard the lap car got put, in a bad spot, kind of put everyone else in a tough spot. But that's just tough. I mean, that's such a long night. You'd think we'd be a little better with that, but I still haven't seen it. And yeah, it's just tough situation overall.
Well, good finish tonight. It's going to help you in the points. Of course, final race is double points. I'm not sure if you'll be able to get anything for the leaders, but definitely possibly looking at a shot for third. I think you came into this race, fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth. And with Stanley not finishing, I think you now have that shot for third there. So there is that. Despite not getting the win, you might actually move yourself up a position. Let me refresh the screen and see if he's actually reloaded the points. Yes, he has. Brophy is the leader by 28 over Panero, 129 over Ethan, and you're 161 back. So double points. Anything can happen. You got a shot at third going into this final race. What do you think?
Yeah, it's I mean, Stanley being my teammate, we've been kind of third and fourth pretty much the whole season. I had kind of written it off up until tonight, and I was really looking to just extend from the rest of the guys, which I think we did pretty good. So I think it'd be hard to lose fourth, but it'd also be hard to gain third. But you never know. I mean, Stanley's a teammate, but we'll race out there and see what happens. Hopefully the title fight gets interesting. We have a good race.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, teammates, anyone to say hi to, go right ahead.
Yeah, just a teammate there, Ethan Stanley. We've had a really good year. He had a tough night tonight, but I think overall we end up third and fourth in the standings, especially behind Brophy and Pinheiro. I'd call that a success. So shout out to him. Shout out to JD Design and Jonathan Cutlip for painting our cars, not only here but also on the NASCAR side. And shout out to you guys here for staying with us and broadcasting.
Our pleasure. Congratulations. And we will check you out at the finale at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And let's bring up Jason Brophy here into the booth. Hey, Jason, I say this is a pretty good warm-up for the fixed and open 500 we got coming up here in a couple days. Talk about your race and your approach. You seem very conservative here at the start of this one.
Yeah, hop in kind of new from practice. It was going to be a pack race, and tires mattered though. At least there was that. Once if you wore out the right front, you really paid for it toward the end. So decided I was just going to ride, save fuel, save tires, and try and kind of latch into the pack with a tire advantage. Did that for a long time. Figured I just survive to the end and then see what happens. Turns out that was a good strategy. Got a little lucky through a couple of the wrecks. Really just, I think, one, the big one on the front stretch. Yeah, I got through that, got a little fortunate, got the lead, and then just held on, kind of pushed into the edge there. I think Nick, or Nick. Yeah, two Nicks. DeGroot getting to the outside there. Fody kind of helped me at the very end because Fody was doing a good job setting up a run to the line. I knew, based on what I saw in 3, it kind of looked like he might have me until I saw DeGroot there. And that was good. A good point stay, big deal in that regard. I think I was like either tied or within 1 point once you consider the drop. Now we go to Gateway, and I think I've got probably a 10 to 20 point lead somewhere in there, enough that it'll be close. Okay, I was gonna say, because it'll be close if I finish second, whether I can stay with Pinheiro. So I think he's probably a little better than me at Gateway. So my goal is going to be run well and finish toward the front, and hope.
Or stick very close to Pinheiro.
Yeah. I did a lot of that today, that's for sure. So
we noticed that as well. Neither one of you got really too far from one another. You got a 28-point lead over Pinheiro going into the last race of the season. 129 over Stanley and 161 over Fody. And then while I have it here, just Nick Sadiq is now 5th, 238. Troiano 1 point behind, 11 points behind Nick, 227. Butch Davis 218. Rexine 215. Del Porto 206, and Chad at 199. I know you got some things that you need to get going here because I'm sure you got some more practicing and probably want to take a couple more hacks at qualifying for Indy to get that at least into the first split. So I'll let you go here early without asking you a lot of follow-up questions, but I do want to give you a chance to do shout-outs to friends, families, teammates. I know you always have someone always helping you, so give them the shout-outs for they deserve, because you got a great win here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank Tommy Ty for letting me be on Private Label Team Hype. I want to thank let's see, Phil. We've been working real hard on the Q stuff this week. Obviously, I'm about to go right back into that. Still looking for a little speed, but open side we're pretty good shape. I actually got to double check where I'm at in the fixed side because my run's not very good and I could improve. But one of those, I'm still not sure I'll be running that one. We'll see after probably 2 500s. I've done a lot of 500s. We'll see. But the Phil, my team, rest of the team, over at Team Talent and yeah, everybody for iRacing, you guys for broadcasting this, Chad for putting on the league. So.
Well, congratulations. Best of luck for your races coming up this weekend at Indianapolis. And you are the points leader going into the final race here at Gateway. So best of luck there. And go have yourself enjoy this victory. And then, I know we have to go hit that grind for those setups. So go back at that as well. But congratulations.
Thank you.
Jason Brophy, the winner. Nick, it's been good to work with you tonight. Your thoughts about what you saw here and that how everything unfolded?
Yeah, just what a race. I mean, had a photo finish last week in Indy, carried over a couple weeks later to tonight. And winner Jason Brophy. So just what a night. I mean, we saw the wreck off the drop, didn't know what to expect, and fantastic battles throughout the field all night long. Looking forward to the finale next week at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Should be a good one.
Yeah, and between the finish here and the finish at Indianapolis was 0.004. Today was 0.007. Can we get any closer at Gateway? Gateway is typically not one of those close wins racetracks. It's normally someone pretty much gives a good domination there. Actually, that's one of my better racetracks, and statistically, it's one of my better racetracks, and I hate the place. But for some reason, it agrees with some people's driving styles, and other people find it a really tough one. I think it's a good mix of getting off the super speedways and getting back into a racetrack that kind of puts the race car back into the hands of the driver a little bit. But it's been my pleasure to work with you here tonight. I do want to, before we go, to remind everybody here, give my shout out for Race First. 9 p.m. Eastern this Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, we will cover the the Open Indy 500 Top Split, which we might actually see Jason Brophy there. Who knows? You might also see the likes of Pinero and some of the other guys that we saw in today's lineup in that fixed or that open setup race. And then Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, will be the fixed race. Again, a lot of the same names you saw here might also be in that one as well. We'll be doing the top split of that 5 p.m. slot. So 2 Indy 500s. We're the only channel that's doing that. We'll be bringing you 2 of the 8 overall top splits. Actually, 4 of the top splits for IndyCar will be broadcast this weekend. That's the first. So we'll be bringing you 2 of them, and then a couple other channels will be bringing you 1 each. And then 4 of the 8 hopefully is a good sign of things to come here for the hobby that got back on the right foot after getting back the license here that caused the outage that we had for the last year. Everyone's excited to get back to Indy because we haven't been there for a year. But thanks a lot, Nick. It's been my pleasure to have you in the booth tonight. That's it for tonight. Once again, your podium from Texas. Jason Brophy, your points leader with the win, extends his point lead just a little bit going into the final week of the season. Tyler Fode second, and Nick DeGroot with a very surprising, but a very deserved podium finish after having a couple races with bad luck. He brings the car home in one piece for third. Join ERN again next Thursday for Championship Thursday of round 12 of the 2024 A Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series as a teams and drivers. As a team's drivers and series moves to the last race of the season at Gateway. It'll be a double points in the season, so one way or another, we're crowning a champion, but who will it be, Brophy or Pinero? Well, you got to tune in to find out. So coverage begins around 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. Again, at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. You can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com/Elite Racing Network. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm games is not an easy win, so please support ERN with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what I thought of tonight's race, and to everybody that participated in chat, thank you very much. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support ERN by smashing like in the video if you would. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of ERN's other iRacing programming. They have a lot of it from a variety of different disciplines, not just IndyCar, but definitely hit that bell and you'll be reminded of the next race they have. Let's see, we got here. ERN's IndyCar naming rights are paid for by the Warriors for Peace. The Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information. A special thank you to the ERL's premier sponsors, Blue Egg Marketing and Worldwide Technology Raceway. You can find out more about them by clicking on their links in the description. For business inquiries to learn more about Elite Racing League and what they do, visit EliteRacingLeague.com, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. All the social media links should be at the bottom in the description for today, so click on those. So for Nick Nassy, everyone at ERN, I am Gary Gotzo signing off. Good night. Thanks for watching, and to all of the men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again next week for Championship Thursday at Gateway for the next race of the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. Good night.